It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS. This is a realization I've had, and it's not a good one, but I think it's common as people scale, which is when we were smaller, we did a lot of like more boots on the ground, like guerrilla style, use our labor for marketing, yard signs, flyers, stuff like that. As we grew, we got more dependent on just buying the marketing. So we started shifting more into radio, and we do some TV, and we pay for a lot of digital. And we've like totally slacked on the physical marketing, the yard signs and the flyers and the whatever. And like to our detriment. I think we've spent a lot of money, and that one of my marketing stories is just that in a couple different places. We've had some big dead weight marketing spends. We had one radio station where I think it was basically like 30 grand to get going right up front. And this was my mistake. I didn't realize there was already a window cleaning pressure washing company on there. And one thing about marketing that I found is like trying to take somebody else's turf in that space, especially where people on that radio station already like know them and have the trust built with them. It was the worst. I think we got 4 clients and it was like $30,000. It was astronomically bad. I lit $30,000 on fire. It might not have been 30, it might have been like 20, and I pulled the plug really quick. I mean, we were like 2 months in, and the guy we were working with, the media buyer, was like, you got to give it 3 months. And I was like, no, like I fucked up. Like I shouldn't have given this 3 days. This was a bad decision, and I need to say no right now. Like the longer I wait to say no, the worse this is going to get. So we're done. We have had radio stations work really well for us. We're on a talk radio station in Minneapolis for a long time, probably a decade now. And it's that radio station where like the people that listen to it just have it on all the time. Like it's on in their car, it's on in their house. It's just constant. And I listened to it one time and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe anybody listens to this. It's like talk radio, and literally it's either advertisements or it's show hosts promoting things. Like it might as well be an infomercial on the radio. And they tell a couple stories and they talk about the weather, and then they roll right into the next commercial break. And it's literally like they're just selling stuff the entire time. I don't know how they do it. But we were on there, and we had, if you were with the right host, right? The talent was super important on the radio. If the host is really good and they have a following, which on talk radio is like the big thing, then it sells a lot of stuff. But if you don't have the host that has the following, then the client base isn't listening to it, even if the radio station's a good station. So we learned that lesson when hosts changed and we had to switch hosts because like the guy we had moved, and then the gal we had a medical issue come up. And so as hosts moved, the success we had changed. And I think this is going to sound terrible. But I say a lot of things that sound terrible. So let's go. Everybody that listens to that radio is like getting up there in age, right? It's a lot of the boomers, and some of them, the older ones, are not around anymore. And so I think their audience is literally dying. And so the listener base is dying. And because we've been on it for a decade, they know who the hell Blue Skies is. And if they were going to sign up for window cleaning from us, they would have done it 5 or 6 years ago. And so we have a lot of repeat clients from them. A bunch of our client base is from that station. But now when we look at our acquisition costs for new clients, every year it's gotten worse by like $100 per client. This last year was like $800 a client, which is like our average job size is $450. It does drive a lot of Google clicks. People hear you on the radio, they forget where they heard you, they go there. But like this radio station is not attracting new clients or new listeners. It's not that type of radio station. It has a really loyal listener base that's aging, and they're not attracting new listeners. So we're pulling the plug on that one. That was like 40 grand last year. And it wasn't as bad as the 30 grand that I lit on fire, but it was a terrible acquisition cost. We did try sponsoring. So it was like an extended story because this was some more money we lit on fire. R&D. It's R&D. We're testing, right? But on some of this media stuff, you got to spend $25,000 to $50,000 to find out if it works. And we've spent some of that and hit gold before. These are the ones where we didn't hit gold. We tried a podcast that's a national podcast, but like very locally followed in Minnesota. Again, it goes back to the show hosts. Like the hosts are really well followed, but like the main host wouldn't read our ad. They had one of the other guys do it. And then they wouldn't let us come and clean their windows for them or pressure wash. And so how the hell are you going to sell our thing if you don't even know what the thing is? So he'd read the ad, but it was just like, you could just tell he was reading an ad. He wasn't saying like, oh my God, Kahuna Window Cleaning is our brand here. He wouldn't be like, oh, I had Kahuna Window Cleaning come out and they were so great and it went like this and I love that about it. He's just like, call Kahuna Window Cleaning because they could come and clean your windows if you have windows on your house. It was just like, come on, man. Like nobody's going to sign up for that shit. So anyway, that was another like 40 grand and we just kind of had to bail on it. We tried it for like a year and a half and I think it could have worked, but I don't like, maybe just doesn't, some of those things take a while to start working and like people to get familiar with you. But it was like, if that's how it's going to sound and it just sounds like the dude's about to fall asleep when he's talking about it, it doesn't matter. Like you have to discount it 50% to get somebody to even like hear the darn ad. So a couple, I mean, that's about $100,000 there that didn't go so hot. But again, we've also spent money in tens of thousands where all of a sudden it was like, holy shit, we landed on some here. Those were just the ones that didn't go so well from a media standpoint. Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.